Hello everybody and welcome to this lesson in your A+1202 course where I'm going to help you prepare you to pass this exam. Today we're going to have a look at exam objective 2.9. We're having a look at different methods of data destruction and disposal methods today. So I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. At the end of the video, as always, I am going to give you practice questions to make sure you're ready for the real thing. Let's go ahead, not waste your time, and get straight to it. Let's start with the 4 different methods of physical destruction that you need to know about. We're looking at our hard drive over to the right. We're destroying it. Why are we destroying it? Because we don't want anyone to be able to access the information on it. There's 4 different methods, each of which has pros and cons to it. Let's discuss them. Now, physical data destruction, just like I said, we're destroying our drive that contains our data. So we want to destroy it so that we're permanently damaging it. This way, we make sure no one can ever access it. There's 4 common things that we need to know about. We've got industrial shredding, we've got drilling, we've got incineration, and we've also got something called degaussing. Okay, I'm going to go through each of them one by one here, when we would use each, and what you need to know about these for your exam. I'm going to prep you to answer any exam questions you might get on this. So with that being said, let's have a look at, we talked about that. Let's have a look at the first one, which is drilling. So this method is basically what it sounds like. You're taking a drill and you're drilling holes in the drive. So this is drilling multiple holes directly through the storage media, such as the hard drive platters or the SSD NAND flash memory chips. Now, how does it work? Well, you get a drill and you drill some holes in the drive. Its level of effectiveness is highly effective for HDDs, but SSDs require multiple drill points on the individual flash chips for comprehensive destruction. Now, guys, for this, if you're destroying a drive with a drill, generally we're thinking of like maybe you're one person and you've got like 1 or 2 drives that you want to completely destroy and you have a drill in your backyard. Really, this is the situation we're looking at, right? Some of the other methods that we're going to talk about require specialized equipment. So for shredding, you require a giant industrial machine designed to shred drives. Often the cost of turning that machine on is only really like worth it if you have many drives to do. Okay, if you've just got 1 or 2 and you've got a drill in the backyard, it's going to be a free thing that you can do right now in order to actually get that done. So you're one person with 1 or 2 drives that you want to destroy. You don't want to go and buy specialized equipment. You got a drill in the backyard. You're Bob, right? You got a drill in the backyard. Fantastic. Go to it. That's kind of the situation we're looking at with that. Now, the next one that we need to know about is shredding. This is kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum here. It's an AI generated image, but you can see the difference here, right? This isn't some guy that needs 1 or 2 drives. This is like many drives need to be shredded in an industrial shredder. You're going to want to put down a lot of money because you're generally going to have a lot of drives that you're going to need to get rid of generally on a regular basis. So this is utilizing a powerful industrial shredder to mechanically tear apart the storage media. It's going to be completely destroyed. It's torn to pieces. Okay, so the drives are fed into the machines that generally have rotating blades which crush, tear, grind, etc. all of the drives up into fragments. Okay, it's highly effective. You don't really have to think too much about it for both HDDs and SSDs. Okay, you just chuck them in, it grinds them up. No one's ever going to find that data again. It's generally considered highly effective for both of them, HDDs and SSDs, with putting very little thought to it. Now, again, the scenario where you're thinking of shredding is you're like a corporation and you've got a bunch of drives that you want to get rid of and you want to make sure no one can ever access them again. You may have your own shredder, or you may actually, there may be a company that does drive data destruction for this exact purpose. You may send these drives to that third company to do this shredding because that's what they get paid to do, which is why they would have this dedicated hardware designed to shred up the drives. So the first one, drilling, is like one person, you've got 1 or 2 drives, you've got a drill in the backyard. Boom. Free, easy, let's go. The next one, shredding, you're a corporation, you've got a bunch of drives you want to get rid of, and you either have your own equipment or you're going to pay someone else to do it for you. And then we've got degaussing. Now, this technique uses an extremely powerful alternating or oscillating magnetic field to erase data from magnetic storage media like traditional HDDs. Now, here's the key. Traditional HDDs, this doesn't actually work for SSDs, okay? So how does it work? It's a strong magnetic pulse that permanently scrambles and neutralizes the magnetic domains on the HDD platter. It's highly effective for HDDs, but as I said, it's not really effective at all for SSDs. So it is not effective at all. Honestly, I don't know when you would want to use this instead of shredding or instead of drilling. Like if you're a individual who wants to get rid of data, just use a drill. If you're a company, shredding is going to be effective, and simultaneously you can do it for both HDDs and SSDs. So it's going to work for both. So degaussing, for the sake of your exam, know what it is. This is the only one that's like trying to scramble the data on the actual HDD itself. All the others are physically destroying the drive. It's going to be smashed to pieces. It's going to be torn apart. With this, the drive looks like it's intact, but it's just scrambled. So understand that and just be able to identify it for a question. Incineration. This method involves exposing storage devices to high temperatures and essentially burning them. So it's pretty self-explanatory, right? Intense heat is going to destroy and melt all drives. It's highly effective. You just chuck them in there, burn them. There's really no chance it's going to survive, but it does have some additional environmental considerations. You've got a lot of emissions going on, right? So you're going to need to have that highly specialized equipment designed to burn the drives, and you're also going to need to have environmental things in play on how you're going to manage those emissions, the toxic gases that are being expelled out into the environment, and how you're going to deal with the rubbish as well from there. So something to consider. Generally, I'd say more often than not, you're either going to be doing shredding or drilling. Otherwise, degaussing, be able to recognize when it's being described to select the correct answer. And incineration, again, be able to recognize something in the question will give away, hey, they're actually talking about, they specifically want to do incineration. All right. But generally, I'd say drilling or shredding are going to be the best bets most of the time. Hey guys, this video is sponsored by the A+ Core 1 and Core 2 Ultimate Learning Guide. This learning guide has helped many people pass their Core 1 and Core 2 exams, meaning that they can move on to their Network Plus and Security Plus sooner rather than later. In the learning guide, here's what you will get. Detailed notes, revision notes, active recall questions, and multiple choice questions for every single exam objective. 3 full-length practice exams with performance-based questions, a document with performance-based questions, a video showing you exactly how to study using multiple choice questions so you will be moving ahead of 99% of other people at a much faster rate because you are studying more effectively, a video giving you test-taking tips in case you get stuck on a question in the exam, a video showing you how to use free AI tools to 10 times your study sessions, and best of all, I want this to be accessible to everyone regardless of your economic position, so I've made it extremely affordable. So if this sounds good to you, you can head over to journeytocyber.com and grab your A+ Core 1 or Core 2 learning guide today. Now let's move on to not data destruction, but data sanitation. This is where if we want to recycle or repurpose our drives, we don't want to destroy them, we want to recycle or repurpose them. All right. Now, what does this really mean? What do we need to know for our exam? We need to know what we need to do in terms of making sure those drives are ready to be recycled or repurposed. So we want to make sure we're getting rid of all sensitive information before we're recycling these. Otherwise, someone is going to have access to our data. All right. Of course, also the fact that we're not destroying them and we're recycling and repurposing them is an environmental consideration that we are doing. We're not contributing to electronic waste because we're repurposing these and giving them to someone else. But really fundamentally, what you need to know is that recycling or repurposing is we're taking a drive, we're going to want to make sure they can't access our data and we're giving it to someone else. All right. So let's get into what we actually need to know. The first one is erasing or wiping. This is the most secure method of sanitizing our data. So this involves securely overwriting all data on the storage device multiple times with specific patterns, rendering original data completely irretrievable. Generally, we are doing this using specialized software. You don't need to know the names of this software. You just need to know that erasing or wiping is the most secure method by completely overwriting all data using specialized software. This is the most effective method of sanitizing our data. Okay. The next thing is low-level formatting. Now, generally, this is often a factory level process. Basically, it's initializing the physical track and sector markers on a hard disk drive's platters, essentially defining the basic physical structure of the disk surface. So It's not really considered like a proper data sanitization method. It's generally used during manufacturing to prepare bare drives. You're rematting damaged sectors, you're fixing physical drive issues, you're making the drive like it new at a fundamental level. Typically, it's exclusively performed by drive manufacturers, all right? So it's not really a true format. Generally, if your goal is to sanitize the data on your drive, you're not really going to be doing a low-level format. You're probably going to be doing one of these other methods that we're talking about here, all right? But just know that this is something that is generally done in the manufacturing process to make the drive like new again. Standard formatting. Now, this is something we do need to know about because these are methods that we may use to try to sanitize our drive. So when you're preparing a drive for new use, your user-initiated formatting typically involves two processes within standard formatting. So you've got standard, and it's separated into two different categories. A standard format can either be a quick format. Now, this process is simply creating a new file system index and a new boot sector. It does not overwrite any actual data. So in other words, a quick format, anyone can really, with any amount of serious effort, can access any data that you had on there before. So a quick format is not a secure method of formatting your data at all. However, a full format not only rebuilds the file system, but also scans for bad sectors and overwrites every accessible sector on the drive. So it provides a reasonable level of data sanitization by writing a pattern. Generally, you're writing zeros over the entire storage surface, preparing the drive for reuse. But it may not meet the most stringent standards for all media types. So this is like the second most secure one, the full format. All right, let's go ahead and have a look at just kind of the order of security for these. So the least secure one is going to be your quick format because really anyone can access your data at any time. The low-level formatting is generally considered a factory process, not heavily available to end users. It does have limited data sanitization capabilities because that's not really what it's designed for. Okay, it's not really what it is designed for. Next is a full format, pretty secure. You're overwriting the data with zeros, okay? This is reasonably secure, but with specialized software, people may still be able to re-access your data, which is why for the most secure method, you want to be using erasing/wiping, which is the most secure software-based method. It is using specialized tools to overwrite the data multiple times. Now, we also need to talk about outsourcing. What does this mean? So outsourcing is basically when you're taking the task that you want to do, in this case, data destruction and disposal, and we're outsourcing that to another company on the outside. So we are engaging an external organization to perform the task for us. Why? Well, the people that we outsource to might have specialized expertise. As we talked about, it might be more cost efficient because you don't have to buy the industrial shredder. These people already have it. So you just pay them a small fee to dispose of your drives for you because they already have all of that specialized equipment set up. However, it does have security implications because you're giving your precious drives to another third party. You need to be able to make sure you can trust them. All right. So make sure you do your due diligence there. The third party vendor, generally, you're going to want to look at things such as their reputation, their industry certifications, and their adherence to data security standards before you choose a vendor to go with. And generally, they are going to offer some certification. So official documentation provided by the vendor confirming the complete and secure destruction of data and proper recycling of the equipment is something that is vital for legal compliance and audit trials. You do need to know about this. You do need to know about this. You specifically need to know that when you hire a third party, they are going to provide you with a certificate of destruction or certificate of disposal, which is something you're going to need to keep a hold of because if you get audited, you need to be able to present this to the individual or agency auditing you and say, hey, we outsourced and we actually have a certificate confirming that we've done this. Here is the evidence. Okay, you do need to know about that certificate of disposal or certificate of destruction for your exam. Now, again, we need to know about regulatory compliance for your data destruction. There are some mandatory legal and industry obligations that you need to be aware of. Why are these in place? To protect the privacy. Often organizations getting rid of drives will have personally identifiable information potentially on these drives or information that is containing data on customers or staff, anything to that effect. So we want to make sure we are complying with regulations relating to this. So you don't really need to know these by name. The GDPR enforces the right to erasure requiring provable secure data deletion via wiping or physical destruction. So you're going to need to show proof of that. And HIPAA safeguards protected health information. So anything relating to health documentation, mandating methods to render PHI, protected health information, unreadable, unrecoverable, and uncorruptible. So basically, there are regulations depending on the type of data you're dealing with, and it all boils down to the fact that you need to be able to show proof that you have, in fact, disposed of that data adequately. Okay, that's really what you need to know. You don't need to know about specifically the GDPR versus HIPAA at this point in time, so don't worry too much about that. Just understand the basic concept that you need to comply with the regulations here. Additionally, I think this is the last one. We've got environmental requirements, right? Beyond security, if we're disposing of all of our drives, we can't just dump it in the river, right? We do have environmental requirements. We want to prevent lead and mercury from contaminating the environment. We do need to make sure we are putting things in place to make sure we're not doing this, okay? Again, you don't need to know these specific names of these regulations. You just need to know that there are environmental considerations that you need to be aware of, and you do need to follow the regulations. For your exam, it boils down to make sure you are following your industry-specific and location-specific environmental requirements and regulations. That's it. Pretty common sense. You don't need to know about the WEEE or the Basel Convention or anything like that. Just understand that basic concept. Now, again, guys, regulatory compliance, it's really important that we are complying with our regulations and with our environmental requirements as well, just as a quick rehash there. Okay, let's get into some questions now, some practice questions. The first question reads, a large company is decommissioning thousands of old hard disk drives and solid state drives and needs to ensure that all data is completely irreversibly destroyed to meet strict data privacy regulations. They are looking for a method that is scalable, highly effective for both types of drives, and is commonly provided with a formal certificate of destruction. Based on the requirements, which physical destruction method should they choose? Is it A, drilling, B, degaussing, C, incineration, or D, shredding? Which one should they choose? What do we think? Your answer coming after I take a short sip of coffee. Alright, pause the video. If you need more time, your answer's coming right about now. It is going to be D, shredding, guys. Shredding is effective for HDDs and SSDs, and it has... actually, let's go through it one by one. So shredding is effective for both, right? What about the others? Drilling, it is a good data destruction method if you're like an individual who wants to get through a couple, but for thousands of drives, you would have to individually drill each of them, and that's too time consuming. It makes more sense to hire a third party. Degaussing is only effective for HDDs, so that's not an option. Drilling and degaussing are out. So now, both shredding and incineration do work for all types of drives and are effective and are going to come with a certificate of destruction if it's from a third party. So why did we say shredding over incineration? Generally, if your choice is between these two, go with shredding, because this does not have those additional environmental requirements of the emissions being emitted out into the atmosphere. It's a lot less admin stuff to deal with, right? Shredding is simple. You put it through a machine, they can physically collect all of the material, but with incineration, you've got those high heats burning everything up, and you're going to have all of those emissions coming out as well, which is more to deal with for the same result. So if your option is between shredding or incineration with no other information, I say always go with shredding. Now, the next question says, an IT administrator is preparing a batch of old company HDDs for donation to a local school. The company policy requires a method that securely erases all data to prevent recovery, but without physically destroying the drives. Which of the following is the most effective and appropriate method to use? A, erasing/wiping. B, low-level formatting. C, standard formatting. Or D, degaussing. Your answer coming after I have a quick sip of coffee. Pause the video if you have to. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. It is going to be A, erasing/wiping. As we discussed not too long ago, that is the most secure method of getting rid of data and sanitizing your drives. All right, The next question reads, a third-party vendor has just completed a secure data destruction service for a company, which included the shredding of 500 old hard drives. The company needs official proof that the assets were properly destroyed to satisfy an upcoming compliance audit. What is the most critical document the company should request from the vendor? A manifest of the destroyed drives, B, a confidentiality agreement, C, a receipt for the service rendered, or D, a certificate of destruction. Pause the video if you need more time. Your answer is going to come in 3, 2. Please pause this video if you need to. 1. It's going to be D, certificate of destruction, guys. That is the official name of the official document that is given to you by a third party when they destroy your drives. All right, guys, if you have enjoyed this, all of this has come from my learning guide, which you can find over at journeytocyber.com. It's everything you need to pass your A+ 1202 exam. It helped this person pass their test. Okay, and you can have a look at what all these people are saying as well. They're basically all saying, hey, I passed my core 1, I passed my core 2. This person got almost full marks on their exam and are now moving on to their Network Plus. All right, so I know that's where you want to be. If you want to get your hands on this, here's what you can expect. All broken down by exam objective, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And within each of those documents, not only does it break it down into each sub-exam objective, but also into each dot point. So if you only want to learn about exam objective 1.2, and you only want to look at drive formatting, you can click on that and it will take you right to that section. For each of those dot points, you get detailed notes. And for each exam objective, you get active recall questions, multiple choice questions. And on top of that, you get 3 full-length practice exams, each of which having 2 to 3 performance-based questions and 90 multiple choice questions in there as well. And on top of that, you get videos showing you study methods and test-taking tips so you actually know how to study to prepare for your exam. So if that sounds good, head over to journeytocyber.com, grab yours today. Otherwise, guys, I'm putting out this free series until the end of time. So I'll be here for you. I just ask that you send me a message or leave a comment when you do pass your exam. All right, bye, guys.